In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a real Amazon FBA business in 2026. This is not private label. This is not flipping clearance items from Walmart. This is an overlooked method that everyday people are using to partner with brands on Amazon and build a real predictable income. My name is Kaja, and my business partner Josh and I have been selling on Amazon since 2017. We've sold over $3 million in product revenue on Amazon and work with 10 brands as their Amazon partner.
We're gonna walk you through the exact model we use, and you're gonna learn multiple things, from finding brands that need your help to what to say on the first call, how to negotiate the deal and get the exclusive, and how to turn each brand into a recurring income. Now, we didn't do this all by ourselves. We actually built a custom GPT specifically for Amazon growth partnerships. And if you watch to the end, we're gonna give you access to our custom GPT that really helps with a lot of the heavy lifting. Now let's jump into step one.
The first thing you need to do is find the right kind of brand to partner with. Partnering with the wrong brand or searching using the wrong filters and in the wrong places will be a huge waste of time. To be a successful Amazon growth partner, there are a few things we need to think about as we're looking at brands. I like to think through this using a very simple framework. Where does a brand land on a scale from 0 to 5? 0 being the brand is not on Amazon and not selling that well at all. 5 being the brand is fully optimized and crushing it on Amazon. So let's knock those two options off the table. We're not looking for a 0 and we're not looking for a 5. If the brand's at a 5, that means they're already crushing it and there's not more value that we can add and they probably already have it handled. If it's a 0, the amount of effort to get a brand from a 0 to a 1 is huge. Launching a new brand takes a ton of effort, a ton of ad spend, and you don't know if it'll work. This is kind of like private label. And sure, there is money that can be made by doing that, but the downside is also really, really big. So ideally, we're looking for brands that are somewhere between a 1 and a 3, and that we can help improve to get them up to a 4 or even a 5. Couple criteria that we want to think about. 1, the brand is already selling on Amazon. As already discussed, we're not in the business right now of launching new products, very high risk and very expensive. We want a brand that is already on the platform. And the longer that it's been on Amazon, the better. 2, we want that brand to have branded search term volume. And we'll get more into the specifics of this later. But what that means is customers are searching on Amazon, not just for the kind of product that the brand is selling, but specifically for that brand's version of the product. So if the brand is XYZ brand, we want to make sure that customers are searching for XYZ brand product type and then buying, because that means that customers already know that specific brand and we know that they are looking for that specific brand. Next, we want to make sure that the brand has poor product listings. This means that their pictures are not going to be very good and the title, bullet points, and descriptions won't be good. Another thing we can look at is that the brand does not have a storefront and it doesn't have A+ content. The reason why we want to look at brands that don't have these things is that means these are things we can do for the brand to help them improve on Amazon. And those are kind of where a brand is going to land between a 1 to 3 range. So if it's already on Amazon, if there's already branded search term and there's room for improvement on the listing, these are the exact kind of brands that we want to target in our outreach. Now, where are we going to find these brands? A couple ways that we can do this. 1, brands that are already in your network. You might be surprised if you start talking about what you're doing with your friends, your family, your coworkers, that someone that you know directly or maybe a friend of a friend is going to have a brand that might need your help on Amazon. So that's 1, your in-person network. Number 2, if you're already doing arbitrage of some sort, whether it's retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale arbitrage, reach out to all of the brands that you are already selling using those methods. And then the third way and next I'm gonna do a screen share and get in depth on the filters that you're gonna use, is searching on Smart Scout. We have found tons and tons of brands on Smart Scout and then reached out to them and gotten accounts and exclusive relationships. This is also the top method that our students are using actively in order to find brand partners. Smart Scout is a tool that gives incredible brand level data on Amazon that I haven't seen any other tool give data quite like this. Me and my team use it in our business almost every single day. Now, these are the exact filters that you're going to want to use on Smart Scout. Next, I'll jump over directly to Smart Scout and set these up, but you can take a screenshot of this and save it for when you're doing your research. But let me just talk through each of them briefly. So first, I recommend picking a category. This is just going to help narrow it down, because if you're looking at all of Amazon, it can be very overwhelming. And as you begin to work with brands and you start getting a couple brands, I do also recommend sticking within a niche. Once you have a specific niche, you're going to start to recognize competitors, understanding what the customer is looking for, and it'll become easier for your business. And for us, we sell across a couple different categories, but we are primarily in one, and many other people will recommend the same thing. Another filter you're going to want to put in is Amazon in-stock rate at 50% max. This is because we don't want to be competing on listings and looking for brands that are already selling directly to Amazon, because competing against Amazon is always, most often, not always, but most often a losing game. So that's just not something we want to do if Amazon is in stock more than 50% of the time. The other thing we want to look for is that there are at least 3 sellers on the listing. And this is because if there are multiple sellers, then that's a high likelihood that the brand allows resellers, which means that you'll be able to get an account with them to begin purchasing their product. If there's only 1 or 2 sellers, that means the brand is probably selling it themselves. And even if there is room for improvement, normally when a brand is selling it themselves, they don't want to give that up to a third-party seller. Which, not to say that there aren't opportunities there, and you can look there specifically, but I found in my experience, it's much more difficult to convince a brand that's selling themselves to hand that over to you as their Amazon brand partner. Next, we want to make sure that we're looking at products that sell for at least $25. In my business, preferably, I like to sell products that sell for more than $35. And right now, as we're recording this, we're in the middle of the whole tariff situation with the tariffs between the US and China and all the different countries. So a lot of things are up in the air right now. And we know that product costs are going to be changing. And this is one of the many reasons why I like products with the higher sale price, because if you're working with a product that you're selling for 10 or 15 bucks and you're only making a couple dollars on it and something like this happens, then you've lost all your margin and you won't be able to keep selling that product. Another reason with that is just the Amazon fees. Amazon, there's the 15% referral fee, there's the FBA fee, you're gonna have to pay for advertising and marketing, and you just wanna make sure that you have enough room to do all of those things and still make a healthy profit margin. So minimum of 25. If you wanna look for things that are selling even more, definitely recommend that as well. Next thing we're going to look for, and this is very, very important, is the average monthly revenue. And this is one of those data points that Smart Scout gives us that is incredibly, incredibly helpful. Now, when you're first starting, I'd recommend maybe even going a little smaller than 100,000. And part of the reason why is you can look for brands that are selling within your budget. So depending on how much money you have to spend in an initial PO, you might even look for smaller brands. Now, for us, I like to do brands where they're selling anywhere between like 20 to 60,000 a month on Amazon. That's a pretty good sweet spot for us right now. But I've also worked with brands that are even smaller than that, under $5,000 in revenue, and where our first initial PO was under $1,000, right? But if you're looking at a brand that's a little bit bigger, maybe it's 200,000 in monthly revenue, 500,000, $1 million, then those POs with that brand are going to get really expensive. And since they're a bigger brand, there's going to be more bureaucracy, and it will be more difficult for you to get an account with that brand, most likely. So we want to target small brands that also will hopefully have a small team. So that way, when we're communicating with the brand, we're talking to a decision maker, whether it's the owner, whether it's the general manager, whatever the title of that person may be. We want to make sure we're talking to a person who has the authority to decide for us to become the exclusive partner or to help them with their presence on Amazon. Then another thing as well, average review rating, I put it at 3.5 stars. And this is because we want to make sure we're not selling a crappy product, right? If customers are always returning the product, that's going to eat up your margin. Preferably, we want a product that gets to like 4.5, 5 stars, obviously 5 stars being the gold standard. But the reason I put it at 3.5 is because sometimes a product that has a really bad listing, like if it doesn't have good images and it doesn't have good product description, the reason it's at 3.5 stars is simply because the customer doesn't know the kind of product that they're getting. So if you're able to add images that describe what the product does and increase the rest of the listing copy around the brand, then as more sales come through and more good reviews come through, that might actually be able to increase from 3.5 up to 4, up to 4.5. So I put it at 3.5. Let's hop over to Smart Scout. So now we're in Smart Scout and we're gonna go to the brands tab and then go to filter. Now I'm just gonna walk through and enter in some of those filters that I put in before. So I searched up for tools and home improvement. That's gonna be the category we're gonna look at. Then primary subcategory, we can skip that for now. Estimated monthly revenue, we're gonna do that 5,000 to 100,000. Average price, we're gonna put minimum 25. Not gonna worry about average volume or FBA sellers. For average sellers total, so that's including fulfilled by merchant and fulfilled by Amazon sellers, we're gonna put that at 3. Now these are some other ones that I'm gonna add in here that were not on my first couple sellers, but I like to put the dominant seller sales percent at 50% as well. So matching Amazon there. And that is because sometimes there might be a third-party seller who already has an exclusive with that brand and they're getting most, if not all, of the brand share. And so we don't want to be looking at brands that might already have an exclusive seller or if they're selling it themselves. Average rating, going to put the minimum at 3.5. Total ratings, leave that blank. Rest of this, leave this blank. Another hack here with the storefront feature, if you click no, that means you're gonna see brands that do not have a storefront on Amazon, which means there's potential for you to help them make a storefront. Another filter that I don't always use, but something that you can try as well, the brand score. So Smart Scout does this on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. So if you put, let's say, the max brand score at 4, that means you're only going to see listings that Smart Scout rates their listing at a 4 below, which essentially means you're looking at brands that have a bad listing, which means there'll be room for improvement. So that's something you can play around with as well. For the sake of this example, I'm going to leave that blank. All right, now we're going to go apply. And we're gonna see all sorts of brands here. So you can see this pulled up almost 200 brands that meet that criteria. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do as I'm looking through these brands is I'm gonna sort by average sellers. So I wanna see the ones that have the most sellers at the top. Okay, so this is very interesting. This might actually be a really good brand to look at. So, Easy Heat, 5.6 out of 10 listing score. So listing isn't great. It's okay, room for improvement. About 8,000 a month in sales, 31 sellers, only 1 FBA seller. So that's interesting. I'm guessing they might be selling large bulky products that are better to do FBM. Monthly sales, monthly growth. Oh, so the brand is declining. And let's see, 19 products and they do not have a storefront. So we know that we could help them make a storefront. So let's open up Easy Heat. And actually what I meant to do is click on the brand logo so it opens up on Amazon. But when you click on the brand name, that gives you some more things to look at within Smart Scout. So now this is just the dashboard going over some of the different information. Kind of want to point out here, we're going to go more into Helium 10, but it's showing the search terms, showing some search term traffic, and it's showing what people are looking for. So this is what I was talking about in regards to branded search terms. So we can see people are searching Easy Heat, heat and cable, Easy Heat cable, Easy Heat, right? All these Easy Heat specific search terms that people are searching for. and their products are capturing most of this traffic. Now, their products should be capturing 100% of this traffic. This is a quick advertising hack. If you were to run some advertising for this brand on their own search terms, that would help them catch 100% of that search term traffic. Okay, a couple other things I want to point out here within Smart Scout. We can go to the products, and now we can see a list of all the products that they're selling on here, and we can see their top products only doing 2,000 a month. Looks like they don't have anything that's ranked under 100,000. So if we click on the product image, that'll open it right up into Amazon. And if you click on the product ASIN, that's going to pull it up in Smart Scout. And then you can also see some buy box history, the buy box rotation, who's getting how much of each of the sales and whatnot. Traffic sources, nothing here, but also showing search terms. This is really good to see. Only ranking for 9 search terms. This is really, really good stuff right here. So I still want to go over to the Amazon listing, but you can see latest rank. So Amazon determines a product's ranking for a specific keyword. The number 1 ranked product for a keyword is getting the majority of those sales for the keyword. Now, there are hundreds of thousands, millions of products on Amazon, and products will get ranked accordingly. So for some of these keywords, right? So we're looking at soil heating cable. It's being searched 765 times on Amazon. This product is being ranked 24. Now, if we were to set up an advertising campaign for that product, get that keyword into the listing and into the images, I can almost guarantee you that the rank for the product will get improved. And if you do a really good job, you can even get this up into the top 5, which will drastically increase the sales for this product. Now let's look at the Amazon listing to see what's going on. Okay, this is awesome to see because this listing is terrible. And if for some reason someone from Easy Heat is watching this video, please partner with a third-party seller who knows what they're doing. So only 1 picture. Someone who knows what this product is and is looking for it will probably buy it, but this picture is just terrible. So this picture needs to be updated, and there needs to be way more images on this listing. You can have up to 9 images, and I recommend that every brand use those full 9 images to fully display what the product is. The title, also terrible. Doesn't include any of these other relevant search terms in the title or in the first couple images. And let's see. Bullet points, also not that great. There do have bullet points, which is a plus, but way more keywords that can get added into here as well. And I mean, you've got 20 plus people selling on a product that only sells like 50 times a month at best. So that is just not a very good strategy for Amazon. So this would be a great brand for someone who is watching this video to actually reach out to and try to get an account with. It's also selling for well over $100, so there's going to be plenty of room for margin if you're able to negotiate a good price. And of course, most people on here are FBM, which is because 100-foot cable, I'm sure it's pretty heavy, which is why they're doing that. But if you go FBA, you'll win way more of the buy box, even though that FBA cost might be a little bit more than FBM. So that's just one example of how you can find a brand that's going to do well. And I kind of pointed out some of the things that you're going to want to look for when you're looking at the listings. While we're at this point, I also want to show you how to create good product images for a listing, and it's going to be much, much easier than you think. So what we're going to do, go back to Smart Scout, and we're going to look at some of the keywords that it's ranking for. Now, heat tape for pipes, heat tape for water pipes, these seem to be 2 of the more specific ones. Now, I was reading this listing, this is a heating cable, not tape, but it seems like it's close enough that this should get us what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search this keyword because it has a lot of search volume, heat tape for water pipes. And we're going to search that on Amazon, and we're going to look at competitor listings to see what their images look like. And then we're going to use their images as a template for our images. So this one here, and I clicked on this guy. Let me go back one. I clicked on him because he's towards the top and he had 3,000 reviews and is ranked as the best seller. So one of the best things to do is just look at the best seller. So let me click back into their listing. #1 in pipe heat cables. And so here we can see what their images look like. So all we're gonna do is a couple things. One, we're gonna go to Fiverr.com and we're going to look for a graphics designer for Amazon listings. There will be plenty of people who have that description. Super simple, don't even need to go to Fiverr to do that. Just go to Fiverr.com and then look for a graphic designer. Then you're gonna give them all of the specific product information about your product from the information that's already on Amazon and using the information directly from the brand's website and any additional information that the brand gives you. Then you're gonna send them the competitor's listing and just tell them that you need listings for your product using the information for your product and format those images in the same way as they are formatted for your competitor that is the #1 bestseller. Another tip of what you want to tell them is say, hey, please make sure to include these specific keywords that you want to focus on ranking for, include those in the images as well. That should run you a couple $100 depending on how good the graphic designer is, a couple $100 to a few $100, and then you'll have solid images for your listing. That'll be super straightforward, but that is a huge value add that you can add to the brand and will help convert the clicks to the listing and convert sales once customers are on the listing. Now that you've found a brand that you want to reach out to, the next step is contacting them and pitching them on a partnership. Now, most brands, especially the one that we were just looking at, their focus is consumed by their own website and by getting their product into brick and mortar stores. That's their focus. And those are the kind of brands that we want to partner with because they don't have the bandwidth to deal with Amazon. And so we're going to take over that channel for them to fully optimize. Now, our pitch and our partnership is very simple. We buy their products at wholesale pricing. We optimize their Amazon sales channel, so the listing, we run PPC campaigns, we can even do Walmart and eBay, we can get rid of resellers, and for the brand, this is really important to remember, it doesn't cost the brand anything. We are actually purchasing their product and putting money in their product. And it's important for you to understand the value that the brand is getting from this, right? So we're not an agency, which means that they're not paying us a monthly retainer. We are also invested in their success because now that we've bought their stock and we've owned their stock, we're incentivized to sell their product because if we don't sell the product, then we don't make money. And the other thing that we do for our brands is communicate with them regularly so they know what's happening on the Amazon platform. And I'm sure that the 30 sellers that they have on the platform right now are not telling them anything about what's going on in Amazon and they're just left in the dark. Now, this is also very important. Before you pitch the brand on the listing optimization or on exclusivity, you need to build trust. If the first thing you do when you contact them is just say, hey, I want to be the exclusive partner, they're going to ignore you. They're going to blow you off. They're not going to want to work with you because that's just about me. They need to have trust that you actually have their best interest in mind and that it's going to be a good working relationship. So the simple ways to build trust, get an account open first. Just place a couple orders, resell on Amazon. Hopefully you're able to make a profit just on the reselling, but even if you're not making your target margin or even break even, just start placing some orders so that way they can see that you run a legitimate business and you're willing to put money on the table. That will help build trust. And then stay in communication with them. Eventually ask them what their e-commerce strategy is, and you don't even have to say Amazon right away. Say e-commerce, and then see what they say about what they're doing on their own website, if they're doing any other sort of marketing, and then just be curious, ask follow-up questions, and eventually say something like, so what's your strategy with Amazon? And then normally they'll go, oh, we don't like Amazon because of XYZ and all these things are going on. And then once they kind of expose their pain points, then you can double down on that and offer solutions as their brand partner. And now I'm going to go through a couple more things that are just going to help you as you're doing outreach. So you can do email, you can do phone calls, you can do video calls, you can meet them in person. Whenever you're communicating and you're trying to negotiate, most communication, and most people know this, is nonverbal in body language. And so, in my opinion, the worst way to try and reach out to a brand that you're trying to build trust and rapport with is via email, because there's no tonality, there's no body language via email. I know people who send emails and have some success, but personally, I also just don't like sending emails. I'd rather be on the phone, hear someone's voice, hear the tonality, or even better, be in person. So this is another reason why local brands are great. If you're able to pull up to the brand's office or warehouse and have that conversation face to face, you're going to build way more trust and rapport with that brand than someone who's just sending them cold emails that they can easily ignore. So that's number one. As often as possible, be in person, schedule a video call, or get on the phone more than email. Be a likable person. Be interested in them, ask questions about the brand. Showing curiosity and interest is such a powerful weapon to build trust. And also be clear and concise. Like if they ask you questions, be honest with your answers. Don't lie to them. Don't beat around the bush, because then they'll be suspicious of you, and the likelihood that you'll be able to get an exclusive contract is just that much lower. Next, talking about positioning. Very, very important to remember that you are the buyer. And it's a funny place to be in with this business model, because we are trying to sell the brand on allowing us to give them money, which is funny to think about. But as their growth partner, that's what we're doing. And so as long as we're able to convince them that we're the right growth partner and that we're going to improve their presence on Amazon, at the end of the day, it's really a no-brainer for them. And so know the services that you can provide to the brand. Listing optimization, and that's talking about the images, talking about the title, the bullet points, the description, the A+ content, brand registry, all of the things that we can do to organically improve the listings rank on Amazon, as well as improve the conversion on advertising spend. If they're not in brand registry, enrolling them in brand registry. If they don't have bundle listings, this is huge. This is also another way that we close one of our brands, is creating bundles for them. So they have a product that customers are often buying as 2 and 3s and 4s or even more. And so we can grade it a 2-pack and a 3-pack. And then that listing started to get sales, that variation started to get sales, which means that we are now buying more from them. Customers are happy because they're getting a little bit of a discount. And since it's combined, our FBA fee is actually lower, so we're making more profit too, so it's a win all around. Also helping them get understanding of their supply chain, helping them track down where unauthorized sellers are getting product from, so that way they stop selling to them. And monitoring MAP as well. The more outreach you do, you will start to get an understanding of what we call an ICP, or ideal client or customer profile, which is the exact kind of brand that you want to reach out to. So you'll start to notice little things on the listing, little things on their website, little things on the LinkedIn profile as you reach out to them. And then your outreach will become much more targeted as you contact them. Now let's talk about objections that you're going to get, because this happens often and it's something that I talk to people a lot. Very, very common objection is we don't work with Amazon sellers. Now, why would a brand not want to work with an Amazon seller? Well, for the exact reasons that we want to partner with them. Amazon sellers that are breaking MAP, which is minimum advertised pricing. Sellers that don't care about the brand at all. If they might be shipping in a product that's a little bit damaged and then a customer is complaining about it, whereas if you were a brand partner and you have the brand's best interest in mind, you wouldn't do that and you notify the brand. Sellers not running advertising on the listing, right? And so when they have all of these resellers, it's creating problems for them. And they've also had Amazon sellers who are very, very unprofessional who work with them, who maybe place a wholesale order and then want to return it because they're used to doing that in OA. Pro tip, if you're an OA seller looking to get into brand direct, Do not do that. That is the best way to ruin a relationship with a brand pretty much forever. And so those are some of the reasons why. And the way to get over that objection is when you ask the question, when they bring that up, agree with them and say, yeah, Amazon sellers like that suck, but I'm not like that. And I run a professional business, and these are the other things that I can do for you as well. And this is another reason why it's very important to get on the phone call or in person, because when they give you an objection and they tell you no, you have to be able to hear in the tone of their voice if that no is negotiable or if it's not. A no via email always looks like no regardless, because there's no tonality. When you're on the phone, you can hear it, and you'll know as you start to look for it when there's room to negotiate and there's room to push back. And sometimes that negotiation is going to happen over many follow-ups. Following up is very, very important in this business model. I've had to follow up with brands for weeks, for months, almost close to a year before I was able to close the contract that I wanted to close. And that's part of the grind that you're going to have to put in order to build the trust with that brand to be their only guy, to be their only seller on Amazon. Another objection that you might get is that they already have their set of semi-exclusive or their exclusive seller. And again, that's a no. That might be a no for now, because sometimes sellers fell off. Sometimes they might get dissatisfied for them. So if that's the situation, make sure you're following up with them consistently, because I know many stories of someone reaching out to a brand. It was a no because they already had their set sellers. And then a few months later, one of those sellers decided to stop buying their product. A spot opened up, and then they were able to jump in. And also, a lot of these brands just don't understand Amazon, don't understand e-commerce. So it's going to take time to educate them on that. But you need to know your stuff when you're on the phone with them, so that way you can point them in the right direction and show them that you are the right partner for them. And nowadays too, you can really, really stand up just by doing the basics, these things that I've talked about. If you say you're going to follow up and then you actually follow up, if you're clear and concise about what you can do and what you want and how you are going to be a servant to the brand and a partner to the brand, and you have a sense of professionalism, you're going to stand out from 90% of the people that are trying to do this. You would be shocked at the kind of emails that I've seen that have been written to these brands and what they tell me that Amazon sellers are telling them. If you can just be professional, do what you say you're going to do, be clear, concise, use good grammar and punctuation in your emails, like just run it through Grammarly or ChatGPT, like the simple stuff, you will stand out. And then as you're doing outreach, you want to make sure that you stay organized. I like to use Google Sheets, keep it simple, a couple columns with the brand name, the ASIN, the contact information, when I contacted them, some notes about the conversation, and then again, use that sheet to follow up with them consistently. Take notes on the conversation. Every time you have a conversation, take a few minutes just to self-reflect and think, okay, what did I do well? What did I not do good? When I said this, they said that in return. Maybe on my next phone call, I'm going to try saying it in a different way, so that way I can experiment and see if it goes different. And even maybe like add some color codes to the spreadsheet too, as you're looking through, like, okay, so this one's green because I opened the account. This one is yellow because I need to follow up. This one's red because it's a hard no, whatever it may be. While you're doing this, you are going to hear no's. That's okay. This is not a magic formula to open up every brand that you talk to and to get an exclusive with every single brand. You're going to have to make a lot of phone calls, and that's part of the game. If you've been doing arbitrage, you know it's the same thing with sourcing. You've got to look at a lot of products to find the winners. And you're going to have to contact a lot of brands in order to get accounts open and in order to get the exclusive. But these are the tools that you need to be able to find the ones that are going to give you the yes. You're going to hear no's, and that's okay. And don't take the no as a rejection. Take the no as you're now closer to finding the yes. And it's very important to have that mentality, because hearing a couple no's in a row can get discouraging. And I know that because I've heard tons of no's because I've called tons of brands. But you got to keep pushing forward and keep looking to that yes. And then once you get the first one in, the next one's going to be even closer. Once a brand agrees to work with you, you need to onboard them into your systems and structure the relationship in a way that is beneficial for both you and the brand. The first couple weeks, the first couple months of working with them is super, super important because that will set the tone and establish a strong foundation to build a long-term relationship that is profitable for both you and for the brand. So the first step of onboarding a brand is to set clear goals and communicate how you're going to help the brand achieve those goals that you guys set together. Brands, as we discussed, will have many pain points on Amazon. We like to start by picking the top 1 or 2 pain points that are the most important to the brand and that will create the most immediate amount of growth for their sales and presence on Amazon. So when we start working with a brand, we don't set up PPC, optimize the listing, go after resellers, create A+ content, create a storefront, and do all of that all at once. We pick 1 or 2 of those things first and start there. And like I said, we like to pick the one that is the most important to the brand and attack that one first. So often, if they have a lot of resellers, the first thing that they're going to want to do is get rid of those resellers, identify who's authorized, identify who's not authorized, communicate with their distributors, communicate with you to get the supply chain under control. And that can take time depending on how many resellers they have. But if that's their main pain point, that's what you want to go after first. Or if they're selling it themselves and they're handing it off to you, they don't have an issue with resellers, but their listing needs improvement, then the first thing that you're going to do is dive into creating new images, creating new copy, and starting to run PPC. But whatever it is that you start doing first, make sure that you communicate that with the brand, that you guys are on the same page, and you set a timeline for how you're going to achieve that moving forward. So number 1, set clear goals with the brand. The second thing that you're going to need to do as you're onboarding a brand is get the correct access on the back end. And that is in reference to Brand Registry and Seller Central. So if you're going to help a brand with their listing, with their PPC, with managing their catalog, you're going to need access in their Brand Registry. So there are a couple things that you're going to need access to. So first, Brand Registry. They can add you as a sub-user on their Brand Registry account. They can do this by sending an invitation to your email and then you accepting that. Preferentially, if you can be listed as an administrator, that's best because you'll have the most access, but you could also be added as a brand representative. Second, within Brand Registry, you need to connect the merchant token of your seller account into their Brand Registry. This is going to communicate to Amazon that you are an authorized seller on Amazon for this brand, and that will also help give you some more control on the listings. Now, if they don't have Brand Registry, this is a place where you can help them set up Brand Registry. Preferentially, you want the brand to sign up for it themselves. All that means is they're going to go to brandregistry.com, click sign up, follow the steps. It's very simple. And then once they set up the account, then they can add you as a user and add your selling account. Next, you're going to want access to the Brand Seller Central account, assuming that they have one. They can add you as a sub-user on the account. And this is very, very important because especially if they already have listings on Amazon and they created those listings, oftentimes Amazon will only approve listing changes from the brand owner's selling account. So if you're going to make changes, you're going to need to go into their selling account and make the changes from their account for those changes to get approved. Now, this is not always the case. We have in situations submitted changes from our account and they've worked, but oftentimes for changes to go through, even though we're in their Brand Registry, we're an authorized seller, Amazon knows that, they still only approve listing changes from the brand owner's account. So getting access to their Seller Central is very important. Inside of Seller Central, you're going to want access to a few things. You want edit permissions for the inventory related items, edit permissions for catalog and advertising related items, and also for PPC and for brand storefront related items. So when the brand invites you, first they'll invite you to their Seller Central account, you'll accept that invitation. Then after you accept the invitation, they have to go back in and edit the permissions. And in the permission sections, it's broken down by section showing the inventory manager, the catalog manager, orders. If you're going to help them with their account health and submitting cases, I also recommend getting access to their case log and account health. And then once you have access to those things, then you'll be able to go into their Seller Central and do things from their Seller Central account. Now, sometimes when you're first onboarding the brand, if there isn't strong trust established yet. They might not be comfortable to give you access to all of those things, and that's okay. It's something where you're going to have to work with what they're comfortable giving you. So if it's only Brand Registry or if it's only Seller Central, if they don't want to give you access to all of those things, that just means you're going to have to be in communication with them and they're going to have to help you along in the process. So for some brands, because we have brands like that, what we do is we will create the new images, we will create the new copy, but then instead of us being able to submit it ourselves, we have to forward it to the brand, and then they go into Seller Central and do it themselves. So there are workarounds, but as you're communicating with the brands, you just have to be clear about what you need. And if they're not always comfortable giving you everything, then you can just do some of that work through them. But as long as they're on the same page and they trust you and there's good communication, then you should be able to move forward. Another thing that's really important is just establishing clear communication from the beginning. So if they like communicating via email, do that. If it's text message, do that. If it's through Slack, do that. But just understand their communication patterns. If they like getting on a video call or on a phone call, and you really, especially in the beginning, want to serve the brand with the systems they already have and grow into that relationship with them. Also, I highly recommend having as many touch points as possible, especially in the beginning. So at least a weekly update, whether, again, it's just a text message or a Slack message or an email, but just keeping them in the loop on the work that you're doing. And then for all of our brand partners, we send them a monthly report of the sales and advertising that we're doing for them on Amazon. That way they can see how their brand is performing and how advertising is performing as well. So those consistent rhythms of communication are very important, so that way they don't get left in the dark and they feel like you are actually a partner that has their best interest in mind. Another thing to understand, and this is very important, is the brand's lead times, so that way you know how much stock you need to order how often. Not all brands are going to have unlimited stock ready all the time. Some of our brands, they have a lead time of 6 to 8 weeks, even more. Some brands, they do have enough inventory on stock, so whenever we want to order, they can send it. But you need to know that for the brand, because staying in stock on their products is very important. And you don't want to have a brand where you think the inventory is ready to ship, but then you go to order and it's a 2-month wait, and then you go out of stock and lose sales rank and lose all of your hard work. So understanding and asking about their lead times is also very important to know at the beginning when you start working with them. And the next thing is going to be when you need to write a contract with that brand. So in the beginning, we like to do kind of like a prove it deal. So we start working with the brand. We don't write a contract right away, but we say, hey, we're going to work over the next 3 months on a handshake basis. And this is the work that we're going to do for you. And then assuming that this 3-month period goes well, then we'll lock in an exclusive contract. So we send them that contract right away and we say, hey, this is the kind of contract that we signed, but we don't need to sign that and you don't need to sign that yet, just to make sure that in this first 3 months, everything goes smoothly. You like working with us, we like working with you. And then assuming everything goes well, then sign the contract at the end of that period. So to recap, you're going to want to set clear goals with the brand, get access to their brand registry and Seller Central, establish clear rhythms of communication, understand their lead times, and then discuss a trial period and signing the contract. And if you do those things in that onboarding period, you'll lay a very strong foundation in order to have a long-term profitable relationship with that brand.
All right, everybody, I'm going to quickly guide you through how to send your products in to Amazon so that they can deliver the products that you sell on Amazon to the customer using the Prime feature. So we're going to hop in to our Amazon seller account. We're going to go over to the tab here. We're going to go into inventory. We're going to go into shipments. From here, we're going to go send to Amazon. All right. So what are we going to send into Amazon here? This is the old flow I was kind of working on. So we're going to delete that and go through it again here. So we're going to send to Amazon. We're going to pick a SKU. So when you think SKU, just think product. So we're going to choose this SKU here. We're going to send in 100 units. It needs an expiration date because it is a supplement. So we're just going to put an arbitrary expiration date on it. And we're going to go ready to pack. Okay. So now in this tab here, SKUs that are ready to be sent to Amazon is in here. So we're going to click on this tab. So there's a couple things you can do here. You can print the SKU label. So every product has a barcode, okay? And you need to cover that barcode with your SKU label so Amazon knows that it's your product, okay? So, and there can't be any other barcodes on the product, or else the Amazon warehouse worker may scan that other barcode and your products may not actually be able to be accepted into that warehouse. And it may be sent back to you, worst case scenario, okay? So make sure SKU labels are on the barcode of the products. You can print the labels here, all right? And then the other thing that you're gonna need to do is you're probably gonna have to put your product in a poly bag. For this label, for this product, doesn't need to be put in a poly bag because of two reasons. One, it's double sealed. So supplements can either be single sealed or double sealed. So this one has a seal underneath the cap, and then it has a plastic wrapping over the cap. So we actually don't need to put it in a poly bag, but most products you will need to poly bag. Any clothing items, gonna need a poly bag, okay? So after you're done putting the SKU labels on the barcodes, putting the product in poly bags, we're going to pack the individual units. It's gonna ask you how many boxes. So you could do multiple boxes or you can do one. For this one, I think all of the products are going to fit into one box. So we're going to select that option. You're going to need dimensions and weight. So we're going to put dimensions in here, some arbitrary dimensions and an arbitrary weight. So the box cannot be over 50 pounds. And then for box dimensions, one side cannot exceed over 25 inches. All right. So, and it'll give you the error if you end up doing it wrong. Okay. So we're going to confirm packing information. Okay. So it looks like it already knows the weight of the products. And so it's saying that it does not meet the expected minimum weight of 34.1 pounds. So we're going to actually go back. Oops. Hit the restart button here. We'll just say 40 pounds. Let's see if it'll accept that. Okay. Okay. Next, what you're going to be doing is we're going to confirm and continue. So for now, it's looking at different fulfillment centers, where it wants to send it. And so the ship date, you can put out as far as you want. Gives it a second. Yep. So if it's a Sunday and you're starting to pack, you can't ship it on Sunday because UPS might be closed. You can pick the next day or a weekday. So we're just going to choose 4/14. That's tomorrow because today's a Sunday. We want to send it to the Amazon fulfillment center. And then we also we're going to pick the lowest cost option for small parcel delivery. All right. Because we want to basically the cheapest we can get. Okay. So obviously we're not going to select, full truckload, and we're only sending in 100 units of a supplement. If we had like 10,000 units or 80,000 units, we want to do like a full truckload. But then you're going to have to palletize all those units, and that's another headache in itself. However, there's a lot of videos out there. If you do run into this issue that you do need to do a full truckload or less than a full truckload, you can kind of look up additional stuff on that and learn about that. We're going to select the shipping carrier, which is going to be UPS. Usually that's the cheapest option. And then all you have to do is scroll down and accept the charges and confirm shipping. It's going to give you two labels. One label is going to be the address wherever the package is going and basically the return address. And then that's the one that UPS is going to scan. And the other one is going to be the one that the Amazon worker is going to scan to tell them what is in the box. Okay. So those two labels should go side by side. Okay. And then you can just ship it right off to Amazon. And then the waiting game begins to make sure that they receive that and it is ready to be online for that product to be shipped out to the customers. I'm going to show you how you can forecast your inventory for your brand direct products. All right. I know a lot of the screen is going to be blurred here. That's because we don't want you seeing all of our brands and all of our products here. So I'm going to choose a product that we actually sell right now. So when you come to your inventory page here, you're going to hit manage inventory. You're going to come down. I'm going to choose this product here. You can hit the SKU button here. And what this will do is it'll bring up this page. It'll tell you sales from the last 7 days, 30 days, and 90 days. All right. And you want to make sure that you're having good communications with your brands to make sure you understand how fast they can get you the product. So usually what happens is we usually buy product. We send them a buy order. They receive that, they accept it, and then they ship it to our prep warehouse where we have a third party prep out all the products, and then we have them ship it to the Amazon fulfillment center. It's super important that you understand how long that whole process takes. So as you can see, we've already ran through the past 90 days here. You can see over the past 30 days, we sold around $5,000 worth of product. We run usually around 20% margin, so it's usually around $1,000 of profit for us, which is awesome. All the way down here, you can look at subscribe and save. All right. So we have 52 subscribe and save customers that usually get this every either month, 3 months, 6 months. They can choose. But it's nice to see that your product has demand and people want it monthly. Okay. So right now in our inventory, we have a total of 283 units. We have only 186 available units to sell. Doesn't make any sense. If we had 283 units of total inventory, but we can only sell 186, what is happening with the rest? That is what we call the reserved. So in the reserved, we have 96 units with 23 units being customer orders. Looks like 17 units are in fulfillment center transfer. All right. This can really affect your total volume of available inventory to sell at any given time. I mean, we've had products that have been in that warehouse for, a week or so, and then they get put on FC transfer. So this is why you always want extra units in your available balance for Amazon, because you don't know how long this FC transfer is going to take. And then after FC transfer, usually they go into FC processing, because that's the warehouse processing those units. So currently right now we have 56 units being processed by a fulfillment center. Looking at this, we have a good amount of units, 186 units. However, we've sold 50 in the past 7 days. So we have, over, I would say, 3 weeks of stock, which is really good. Once you really start to have about, you only have 2 weeks of stock, that's when you really want to start being worried. But because again, the time that it takes to order the product from the brand, get it prepped by the prep center, and being sent out to Amazon, and Amazon accepting that product and it becoming available to sell can be around 2 weeks. So I'm sure Kosh is looking to potentially order some more here soon as we look to manage this listing here. So that's how you look to optimize your sales and inventory. It's probably the number one most important thing that you can do for your Amazon business. You do not want these listings running out of inventory, because then people will look for other products. And then next thing you know, your subscribe and save count decreases and people are looking for other products instead. So make sure that you're optimizing your inventory management daily, being kind of look at this daily. It's not like we look at it, every week. We look at it every day, because again, we can have 13 units being ordered per day when we're used to, 1, 3, or 6, which is double the amount. So make sure that you're looking at this every day, and that will allow you to be able to process all the data and make great decisions. In this section of the video, we're going to talk about how to run a PPC advertising campaign for your brand and how to create an effective PPC campaign. So we're going to jump into Seller Central here. We're going to go to the campaign manager. We're going to create a campaign. The product we're going to be creating the PPC campaign for is this Downy automatic dispenser here. So they're going to give you a couple different options on what type of campaign you want to do. These are for individual products. This is for like whole brands. And then, you could end up being on like, you could do it on like TV, on like Prime TV and all that kind of stuff, or just do a more sponsored display ad. Usually we just do sponsored products. We rarely do anything else. When you get here, you can name your ad campaign anything. And then what you can do is we're going to add the product that we want to create the PPC campaign for. So when you first start creating a PPC campaign, we always like to start with automatic because your listing should be optimized with all the keywords and everything in it. And then what Amazon's going to do is it's going to take all the keywords and all the info that's in your listing and run it against keywords that they think that your product will convert for. So we always start with the automatic. You can set your default bid. We're going to skip over negative keyword targeting and negative product targeting right now. So for your campaign bidding strategy, you can choose any of these three options. Dynamic bids up and down, but they're basically going to raise your price by 100% in real time if they think the ad will convert, and then they will lower your bids when you're less likely to convert. Dynamic bids down only is going to basically be they're only going to lower your bids if they're not working or not converting. They will not increase them. And then if you want to, you can fix your bid, which is basically whatever bid that you set here. That's what they're going to fix. All right. And then there's also other bid adjustments that you can do. So if you want to be on the top of the search page, so if we go to Amazon and we type in anything right here, we'll just do fish oil. We have a lot of sponsored products here. This is the top of search here. So when you're increasing your percentage of what Amazon can charge your bid, you can change it for top of search. If you want the rest of search, where that usually ends up, it's somewhere like down here or all the way down. Basically all the way down the bottom. So kind of more down here-ish area. I believe if you scroll down a ways on the Amazon page, yeah. So we also get, more sponsored products down here. So this could also be where you end up as well. All right. For product pages, that's going to be like down here. So on every product page, there's a competing product. So that's where you'll end up if you increase your percentages here. And when you're first starting off, you just want to create an automatic. Makes it really easy. So you basically name it, and then you basically pick your start and end date, and then you use your daily budget. Whatever you want to spend daily, that's what you're selecting. All right, here. And then you're going to wait a whole week. Okay, you're going to let the automatic targeting campaign do its thing, and then you're going to potentially start jumping into negative keyword targeting and negative product targeting. So if there's a certain keyword that's not converting at all, it's like basically 10 to 15 clicks without a sale, you might want to start putting those keywords in negative keyword targeting. All right, unless it's like a super important keyword. Same thing goes for negative product targeting. Again, we kind of, if I was this company down here, if I was Grab Green and I was not getting any sort of sales on this listing with this Downy automatic dispenser, I would then create it to be a negative targeting product. All right, which is basically you're going to put the product. So basically what you would do is you grab the ASIN of the product. Usually ASINs start with a B. To make it easy, you can also find the ASIN down. You can also find the ASIN down the product details. Okay. And then you would copy it in. And then I would exclude that from the product targeting campaign. Okay. So that's if I was the go grab individuals. So that's how you kind of add products into negative targeting. Same thing goes for negative targeting keywords. Like cotton, fabric, softener. I could put that. I could put that in there if I wanted to. I could add the keyword in there. And if for some reason that wasn't getting any sort of sales on it, I would just add a negative. So that should stop the automatic campaign from targeting those keywords. So now that we've kind of gone through the automatic targeting campaign, usually what occurs is the automatic targeting campaign will then find keywords that convert really well. Like a keyword that's going to convert really well for this is Downy automatic dispenser. And you might be like, yeah, that makes sense. That's literally the name of the product. But that will be a keyword and it will convert really well. So what you would do is you would probably want to put that in the manual targeting campaign. And the reason that you want to do this is because let's just search it. Let's just see what happens. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be right in the front here. But sometimes what can happen is, especially if somebody's on mobile, right? They have to actually scroll through the first 3 or 4 to actually probably be able to find this product. So if someone like Febreze is really doing well advertising here, you're going to want to try to kind of be at the same level so that when somebody does scroll, they'll probably do 1 or 2 scrolls before they click on something. You want to be in those first 2 scrolls, and you're going to set a super low bid for this. You're not going to be super aggressive with it because most people are gonna try to find this product. But when Febreze runs out of potential money to spend for the day on advertising here, you might see an increase in conversion of some really low bids that can make your campaigns pretty powerful. Okay, so that's just one keyword that I would put in there. And so when you select manual targeting campaign, what can happen is you can target keywords and you can target products. Just like you can negatively target keywords and negatively target products, they have a whole bunch of, suggested that you could use. Again, they all start with Downy, right? Kind of what I was saying. These are the keywords that are going to be like really powerful for your campaign in the beginning, manually targeting keywords. So what I like to do is I like to use the exact. So whatever keywords that are running really well in the automatic targeting campaign, you're basically going to start a new campaign and you're going to do a manual targeting campaign for those keywords. This is after you let the automatic targeting campaign run for a week or 2, let it collect a whole bunch of keywords, and then you're going to enter the ones that convert the best into this. So like something like Downy automatic, like something like that would probably be pretty good to bid on. So we're going to do that. Looks like they already have a keyword related to your product category. It's kind of interesting. So you can select your bid size. It looks like, again, the bids are really low because not a lot of people are searching for this exact product. It's not one of those main keywords like fabric softener. For this one, like if you just put in the keyword here, fabric softener, it would probably be a lot more expensive. So let me just have that in. Interesting. Oh, yeah, here we go. So again, the bid changes drastically because this is more of a general search. The more specific you get, the less the bids will cost. And then same thing, negative targeting campaign, you could do that as well. But usually for the manual, you don't need to because you know exactly what you're bidding on and you know the keywords are good based off of your automatic targeting campaign.
All right, guys, this is our new
ChatGPT Brand Partner Assistant. All right. So what you can do is, if you don't find this link in the description of the video, you can go to, if you're on ChatGPT, you can go to Explore GPTs and literally search in Brand Partner, and then you have Assistant here. Okay. So we're going to start a chat here, and it gives you three options. It gives you the listing copy optimization, gives you the product image creation, and it gives you the PPC auto campaign analysis, or pay-per-click auto campaign analysis section. So what you're going to do is, I'm going to start with the listing copy optimization. So I'm going to click into it, and what it's going to give you is instructions on what information that it needs to provide the best optimal title and listing copy that you can get. Okay. So number one, I usually like to copy all the 12 things that it will need, and I like to put it in a Google document. So I'm going to go to Google Drive. I'm going to create a new document here. I've already kind of created the document already. I just want to let you guys see what I do. Okay. So number one is a document that includes current title, bullet points, and product description from the product's Amazon current listing. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go to title, just so that it kind of understands everything, where we're getting it from. Obviously, we have to choose a product first. So I ended up doing it on Grenades Gum. They are a brand that just doesn't have quite the best optimized listing, though they sell, a fair amount per month, especially on the photo side. They have decent product detail page here, but again, I think it could be revamped a little bit. So I'm going to copy the title. Next, we need bullet points. You don't have to do it this way. This is just like how I like to organize it. And product description. So it looked like there's a couple things we're going to have to potentially copy here. That's pretty good there. So we're going to look at additional product information copy from the brand's website. We're going to go to grenadesgum.com. Check out what kind of other stuff that they have. I've already kind of done this before, just to make this a little easier for you guys. So this is already copied from the Amazon listing. Their website could honestly use some help as well. Looks like we need a keyword export from Smart Scout, Data Dive, or Helium 10. So we're going to go to Grenade Gum. I'm going to grab the ASIN. I grabbed it from Seller Amp, but you could always grab it right up here. Starts with a B. Make sure you don't get any the slashes in there. We're going to go to Smart Scout. I'm going to go to product keywords. And what we're going to do is, you're going to export it as an Excel, or what you can do is you can export it as a CSV and then go to Google Drive and upload that to, or import that to Google Sheets so you can organize it. I already have done this, so I'm not going to do it again, but this is how you would obtain the keyword data for grenade scum. Now we're going to do keyword export from product out. Data dial helium 10 of your product's top competitor. I have already named a competitor here, Pure Gum. They sell 20K a month. Again, this is a very popular gum brand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ASIN again, go to Smart Scout, copy it in. It's going to take a little bit longer because it has a lot more keyword data than Grenades Gum does. And after this loads, basically going to do the same thing. You're just going to copy the Excel or use the CSV and import that to Google Sheets. And that'll give you an Excel-like spreadsheet of all the keywords. All right, there we go. So just like I said, I still got the button here. You're going to do that. Now that we have that, we're not going to put it in the sheet because we're gonna have some other files that we're going to upload as well. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to grab our query performance report from Amazon Brand Analytics. Usually when you are working with a brand, you will have access to some of their brand analytics. So I'm going to log into our Amazon account and show you where you can find that. Choosing your Amazon Seller Central, you're going to click here. You're going to go down to brands. You're going to go to brand analytics. You're going to go to search analysis, search query performance report. And you're going to grab your brand, or you could work through the ASIN. Obviously, we're not working with this brand, so I couldn't do it at the ASIN level. But basically, you would put the ASIN here, click on your reporting range. I would go max, so quarterly. You would hit apply, and then you would hit generate download. And then that's the file that you would upload into the brand partnership GPT. Next, we need a demographic report from the Amazon Brand Analytics for this brand. So we're going to go back into Brand Analytics. We're going to go to demographics. Again, you can search your ASIN to refine results, rocket to the quarterly. The last quarter that you had, and then you're going to hit apply. Once you select your ASIN, you're going to hit refine results, and you're going to hit generate download, and that's the file that will have to go into the brand partner GPT. Okay, heading back, next what you're going to do is you're going to look to extract the customer review from the product's listing on Amazon. And then lastly, you're going to link the Amazon page to for your product. So I will go here. I will link the page to the Amazon product. That didn't go very well. Let's try that again. Then you're going to link your competitors link from the Amazon. You're going to link your brand's website. Then you're going to link your competitor's website. And then after that, good enough. Going to download this as a PDF. We're going to go back over the brand partner GPT, and we're going to start putting everything in. So we have that PDF. We have the Pure Gun keywords. We have grenade gun keywords.
Just waiting for this to load. Because they have a lot of keywords. And then the other thing you would want would be the customer reviews, which I don't have just because we don't work with the product. The search query review, the search query performance report, and the customer demographic report. All that could just be attached here. Okay, so once you have all that stuff attached, you're gonna hit go. And you're gonna let the brand partner assistant GPT help you out here. Again, it doesn't have all the data, so this probably won't be the best that it can do, but it'll get you pretty close to where you need to be. So what it'll spit out: optimized title, optimized bullet points, optimized description, optimized backend keywords, and then it will start laying out, A+ content recommendations, image creation recommendations. You do not have to go back to the main page and click on like the photo GPT portion of the brand partner assistant to go straight into photos. You can just go basically straight into it here. Again, it's prompting us on number 8 here, image creation recommendations. It's looking at a main image cleanup, and then it kind of goes through a couple other things that it wants to work through. All right, guys, so when you're working with photos with the ChatGPT brand partner, what you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna download these photos that are on the listings so that you can prompt to create new versions that you're looking for, whether it's lifestyle or whether it's product in use, all right? And so we're gonna get into that right now. Again, I just like how this photo looks like it just created a little bit more depth with shadowing. This one looks pretty like plain Jane. We'll see what it can come up with here. It looks pretty close to the original packaging, but we'll see. Okay, so what it did was it created a little bit of shadowing at the bottom here. As you can see, it doesn't look a whole lot different, but it is definitely a little bit nicer than this one. Colors kind of pop a little better with the grenades being a little bit darker here. So that actually looks really good. Let's see if we can let's see what it will spit out now. Kind of asked it to create some lifestyle photos using the same packaging just to see what it can create here. And the goal is to be able to get images that are very close to what you're looking for and then send them potentially off to another Fiverr or somebody else to kind of tweak the photos a little bit, so you don't have to worry about paying them for idea creation and all that sort of stuff. That is actually phenomenal. I mean, pretty good. Let's just be honest. I'm gonna blow this up a little bit. Again, like if you're with someone that you like, you're obviously gonna want, good breath. And then he's just riding himself in the car, enjoying some gum. They kind of kept with the same packaging, which is what I was looking for. So that's great. I might, again, this brand's all about explosive, strong. So I might ask it, so I want to create an image with the same packaging with potentially a crazy reaction to trying this gum for the first time. Again, it is explosive. The flavor is strong. I want to see what it spits out. pretty good photo there. Maybe I might dial this down a little bit, but again, you kind of get the gist. If you wanted to dial it down, you could totally tell the GPT to dial it down just a little bit. I do like the photo. I love how it didn't change the packaging at all. Looks great ultimately. So again, these are things that you can play with to get not only A+ content, but to get all the main photos that you're going to want for this specific listing. All right, so that's the photo aspect of it. Now we're going to we're actually going to go back because I want to work through the auto campaign PPC version. So let's just run back here. Okay, now we're going to go into a PPC auto campaign. We're going to make sure that we allow Brand Partnership Assistant GPT to be able to work through classifying search terms and giving us the best possible auto campaign for our product. All right. Once you set up your auto campaigns PPC, you're going to go back in after, I would give it at least 2 weeks, and you're going to start working on sorting keywords. And so what this is going to do, it's going to help you do that. So how you get that report is you're going to go to campaigns. Once you go to campaigns, you're going to pick out your auto campaign. All right, here we go. Perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Once you click on your auto campaign PC, the one that you're looking for, you have to get to the search terms. Once you get to the search terms, you're going to export. It's going to export it. What I'm going to do, it exported it as an SCV, and I don't have Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to go back into Google Drive here. I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm going to import data, upload, browse, all the terms. There we go. And then I'll just label it auto. Please download this PDF, export. And we're going to go back to our Brand Partner Assistant GPT, give it the sheet. So usually what you can do is you can kind of clean up the data a little bit before you end up giving it to the Brand Partner Assistant GPT. However, I'm just going to send it, see what it gives me back. And so what it tells you is it almost sorts it based off of spend and tells you profitable converting search terms and non-converting wasted spend. So again, we had one really good keyword here with good ACOS. Again, we only got one order. It looks like, the spend was only $1.50. So it was probably like a one click with purchase, which you're going to get. So usually we like to see like 10 orders and then determine if that keyword is still good or not. Usually we don't like what we call one click wonders. So this kind of gives you just the next step to how to create a manual campaign with potentially a negative cleanup so that you are not rebidding on the same keyword, basically bidding yourself up. So this really works well for large campaigns that have a lot of data. Again, guys, you need data. They just can't be one-click wonders. And this will kind of work you through exactly how to put in your manual campaigns together. Again, every week or 2 weeks, you're going to harvest that data and do the same thing and just kind of work through it to work with this Brand Partner Assistant. Again, go find it. It's going to be linked in the video. It's going to be in the description. We are so excited to bring you this. Hopefully we'll have more updates in the future. And guys, if you ever have questions on this, you can always put them in the Discord, guys. We're very active in the Discord and we would love to answer your questions that you may have. This custom Brand Partner Assistant GPT. There's a lot of people in there that are asking a lot of good questions. So that's always an option as well.
Let's recap. The brand partnership model isn't private label, it's not flipping clearance items, and it's not wholesale through sketchy suppliers. It avoids the high startup costs of private label and the supply chain and account closure risks of arbitrage and sketchy suppliers. You work directly with brands, manage their Amazon presence, and sell their products through your own Amazon storefront for a consistent reliable profit. Your job is to find the right brands, lock in an exclusive partnership with them, manage supply chain, advertising, and listing optimization using the methods that we showed you in this video. Once you have landed multiple exclusive contracts, you will have predictable and reliable revenue and profit in your business. And the beautiful thing is the work can be automated and managed by AI and virtual assistants, so that your role as the owner and CEO of your business will be brand relationship management and brand strategy.
Now, here's what to do next. We have a free community in Discord, link below. We're sharing our outreach templates, brand management templates, and our custom GPT is gonna be in there. Make sure to follow Kaj and I on all of our social medias so you can stay updated on the Amazon landscape, and we'll see you in the Discord.